So I just missed this car being sold. I had it up on my Auto Trader and I meant to grab a screenshot of it. Unfortunately, I did, but it looks like it's sold. This is VIN 3214, one of, not the last, but one of the last GSFs ever produced. It is a 2020 in ultra white 083 paint code with LA30 interior, which is the red interior with standard carbon fiber trim. Now, I almost missed it because it's funny because this thing has been for sale for like 6 months. And I had it pulled up on my Auto Trader so I could do a video on it. And when I looked this morning, it said this car is no longer available for sale. But I do know where it was for sale at the dealer. And so it's still for sale on the dealer's website. So I'm not sure if they just temporarily pulled it down or if it's actually sold. We'll see. So this particular dealer, go look at their reviews. I'm not going to be one to judge, but some of the other cars, the GSFs that have gone through this dealer have questionable history at best. And so I'll let you infer what you want from that, but there's a lot to unpack on this car and I will get into details on it. I have several forum group members that have gone and checked it out, sent me pictures that they've seen, and there's a lot to unpack here. And so first off, it was, the last asking price was $55,000, 48,000 miles on it, and it didn't have a price listed on their website or on Auto Trader. This is one of those dealers, they won't give you a Carfax unless you send them your information. They won't give you a price unless they send you your information. Call for price, and it's that kind of dealer. But again, I'm not going to get into that. You guys can infer what you want. This car's been for sale several times. It's been listed, pulled, listed, pulled. 2 different dealers have listed it, and it's always been in like New York, New Jersey, kind of that area. It's been winter driven. Definitely not a Southern car. It does have a few cosmetic mods like a carbon fiber steering wheel, carbon fiber trim, the seat inserts, the shift knob, things like that. So, you know, pretty cool. Those are most likely a company called Elvin Wong Carbon Fiber. That's a guy in China that modifies a lot of the OEM parts. He skins them or he does custom steering wheels. Pretty common to see on these cars as modifications. Before we jump into it, I'll give you the production info on this. 647 cars out of the 2,347 for the US 49 were ultra white. It's the most common color. 54% of the cars were either black or white. So 647 cars were white. Of the 647, 360 had the LA30 interior. So this is the most common color, the most common color combination for the GSF. So if you see one that pops up that's white, most likely it has a red interior. Very common. For 2020, however, there's only 186 cars that have been identified for the US 49, US except Hawaii. Of those 186, only 60 were white. And of those 60, only 27 had LA30 interior. Most of the 2020s are like one of 4, 1 of 8. This is 1 of 27. So the most common color you're gonna find also on 2020s is white with red interior. So now on to the Carfax, Epic VIN, and AutoCheck. Carfax, 3 owner, no accidents. Epic VIN, 3 owner, no accidents. AutoCheck, 3 owner, no accidents. So if you stopped right there and just looked at the pictures, looked at the Carfax, you're like, 2020, that's pretty cheap for a 2020, $55,000. When it was first listed back in October of 2024, they originally started at a dealer $69,000, which is probably where it would have been at the time. Dropped the price to 65, 64, 63. They kept going down. It finally went down to $55,000. But so the sales history, November of 2020, it was $86,000 in New Jersey. August of 21, it was $73,000 with 10,000 miles in New Jersey. August of 2024, 69,000, 65,000, 64,000, and then finally 59,000 with 47,000 miles in New Jersey. So it looks like then it moved over in January of 25 to a dealer in New York, which is, I believe, the current selling dealer. So here it is, August, it just sold. So that means it took about 8 months to sell this car. That should tell you a lot of what you need to know with these cars. These cars do not sit around long if they're good. If there's no questions, no issues, they sell very quickly. So this particular car, let's look at the pictures. This particular car I remember very well because I've actually even talked to one of the previous owners prior to October 2024 about this car, and there are several people that know about this car in the GSF community. There's a lot of people that have inquired about it, and there's a reason that it's been for sale for so long. So, as I said, one of the groups I'm in, someone went to go look at this car and sent a lot of pictures. They posted them in the groups. This car has a lot of unreported paint work. So there was obviously an accident or something that went on that it was not reported to insurance. It was done at Jim Bob's body shop somewhere. Who knows? It definitely was not done at a Lexus dealer. I will tell you that when you see the quality of the repaint. But it looks like some of the panels have or had paint protection film on them, because you can see them in some of these photos. You look right at the edge, you can see the edge of the clear film on it. But the sensors are damaged. There's damage underneath, scrapes. There's overspray on the cowling, the windshield cowling. That's just on the front. The rear has paint runs in the bumper. The sensors are painted over. So I'll read through you the list of issues that he gave me. And the front hood, so the hood had paint bubbling on it. There are scrapes on the front bumper underneath. That's not uncommon. The bumper vents, the front bumper vents had fitment issues, poor quality repaint on the front and rear bumpers, overspray on the windshield cowl, a lot of wear on the driver's seat bottom. You can see that there's actually some of the material has worn away, and you can see a little white on it. There's a tear in the steering wheel. There's holes in the right rear door panel. There's a lot of wear on the driver's door panel pull, and there's something stuck in the defrost vent. You can see it there. The wheels are curved. Just the more you look into it, the rougher it looks. Well, so I said I've talked to the previous owner before this car was even for sale. He actually sent me pictures of the accident damage from when he owned it. So there's obviously an unreported accident. Well, here's the pictures of it right there. So you can see front bumper, fender, headlight. That was kind of the issue. The funny thing is, this damage from these pictures that was sent to me, it's damage on the other side. It's damage on the passenger side. And then of course the rear. So there's all kinds of things going on with this car that have not been reported on insurance. Therefore, it's not on the Carfax, or there's no police report, anything like that. So that's probably why this car is priced $10,000 to $15,000 under where the market is for it, considering the mileage in the year. Do what you want with that information, but if this is a car that I was looking at, I would run, not walk away from it. I would get away from it. I've told you when I first started this series that there's a lot of cars that have stories like this, and this is one of them. And they're either lots of green flags or a whole bunch of red flags. There's very few that are kind of in between. So this is one that there's a lot of red flags on it. And if this car did sell, and you are the person that bought this car, I'm sorry you're seeing these pictures and photos and information now, but this is one of those cars that a lot of due diligence goes a long way. And this is a car that there are many issues that needed to be addressed. The price helps, but it still doesn't offset that there's a bunch of stuff that was hidden. Now that you've seen all the photos there, let's jump into the service history. November of 2020, when it was new, 2 wheels were already refinished and an additional repair, and it doesn't say what it is, but probably delivery damage. That's not uncommon. You see bumpers when they back them off the truck or something get damaged, but 2 wheels and something else was addressed when it was new. May of 2021, the pinch welds were damaged on all 4 corners due to improperly using a floor jack. The pinch welds on these cars are very sensitive, and if you're just using a regular floor jack, it will crush them. And so I bet if you got underneath this car, you would probably still find all 4 pinch welds are crushed. Probably was not addressed unless in all this accident damage. They fixed them. February of 2023, 25,000 miles, new fuel pump due to contaminated fuel. Not unheard of, that does happen. Probably should have had spark plugs and other things replaced or cleaned at the time, but rear brakes as well, done at the same service. December of 24, 47,000 miles, somebody did a pre-purchase inspection on this car. So remember when I said it was for sale in October of 24? So here's somebody in December, 2 months later, doing a pre-purchase inspection. They noticed that the left rear shock was leaking, all tires were dry rotted or cracking, and it needs an alignment. That person obviously did not buy the car, but they paid for a pre-purchase inspection, saved themselves quite a headache. April of 2025, 51,000 miles, it's still for sale. HVAC servo motors, but declined repairs. They recommended a diff service, was not done. So probably got issues with the vents, with the air temperature and control coming out, was not addressed. So you've got that to deal with too. So you have HVAC issues, you have needs tires, you have a shock leaking. The valley plate, 2020s, I haven't seen any 2020s need the valley plate leak done or addressed yet. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but you've got interior damage, you've got unreported paint work, there's previous accidents that were unreported. There is so much on this car that is just, you just need to run away. And it's unfortunate that these cars get this way. It seems like they're kind of in the New England area a lot of the times, or like in the South Florida area. And this is one of those cars that it's a rare car, and it looks like from the beginning, you know, when it was a year old, it already had crushed pinch welds and things like that. So, you know, who knows what else you're gonna find with this car. But if you're insistent on buying this car, do a very thorough, very thorough mechanical inspection, electronics inspection, and of course the body work. There is a lot to unpack on this car. So anyway, that's what I have on VIN 3214. It's not the best of them out there. So if you're seeing this and you bought this car, oh yeah, sorry you're seeing this now, but that's what I've got for you guys. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.